Well, all good things must come to an end, and tonight is no different as leading off signs off for the final time. Just ahead of the 2022 Major League Baseball season, it's been 98 days since our last episode of the show, and in that span, we've seen a bunch of changes happen to the game. We've trudged through a lockout. We inducted a new member into the Baseball Hall of Fame. We've seen a surge of shocking free agent signings and trades, especially in the last week. And most of all, baseball is back and opening day is just weeks away. So we talk about that and more. Plus, we make a final run through some of our favorite recurring segments and share a final thank you to all our supporters. So buckle up. It's the final episode of Leading Off. And once again, we are live. This is the final episode of Leading Off, live from Studio 69 in New Jersey and REM Studio in Staten Island, New York, airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. And welcome back for one last time to the show on Tuesday, March the 22nd, 2022. I am your host, Rich Rivera, and I'm being joined by Mr. Bracket Buster himself, ESPO. ESPO, how's that bracket doing?
Well, I had Kentucky winning it all, so that tells you how it's going. But hey, at least they lost to a New Jersey team, right? Let's go St. Peter's.
St. Peter's with the early upsets to start in this NCAA March Madness, which is obviously what this show is not about. I'm not a big college basketball. Actually, I'm not really a big collegiate sports guy in general. I just know March Madness is obviously a big deal. So, good luck to everybody on your brackets. But from what I'm hearing, no one's doing real well on their brackets right now. It's been kind of crazy what's happening over there. But before we get into this show, and we obviously have a lot to cover. Again, I mentioned before, 98 days since our last show. So yes, there's been a lot of great happenings in baseball. A lot of bad stuff happened, but a lot of good stuff has happened. Now, one of the bad things that has come out of this offseason was the end of this show. And before we get into it, obviously, let's address the elephant in the room and talk about why it ended the show. Last week we made this announcement on Twitter, of course, and people have asked because they're confused. They don't know why. Baseball is back. You would think the show would come back in full force. I think Espo and I, he can agree that we afford a reasoning to our supporters and our fans here. And obviously, Espo, feel free to chime in. But when we started this, there was obviously a lot of excitement. We are in the midst of a pandemic, and obviously, this show was something that Espo and I had talked about for years, and we just needed a good opportunity to do so. We took advantage of the global events that were happening, and we wanted to use that time to have a baseball podcast. So there's a lot of great excitement, a lot of good stuff going into it, and I would say that excitement lasted for a good amount of the 2021 season until maybe towards the end. I think it definitely started to feel a little bit more like work, and we were hoping that, hey, with this lockout, we could kind of use it as a bit of a cover to, stay off Twitter, stay off Twitch, and kind of do our own thing. And hopefully when the time comes when we can come back, that energy will be reinvigorated once again. And unfortunately, it wasn't. And, Espo and I talked it over, and we thought it was best to just move forward from the show. But we wanted to come back with at least one more show, one last hurrah. We didn't want to end it on a solemn note, of course. And there's no breakup. That's one of my good friends. We're obviously we're going to try to attend some baseball games this year. It's just we want to move on from this. And we have some projects that we're looking into. Obviously, Espo has his great blog, the Espo Experience. And I'm sure he's got some more projects up his sleeve. And you know me, I can't get enough of doing stuff outside of just, miserable work. So definitely you'll be hearing from me as well. So just keep following us on social media. You'll hear more. Espo, do you have any comments on the end of Leading Off?
Yeah, man, just to echo a lot of the things you were saying, we obviously still have a great passion for baseball, and we're still homies.
Oh, yeah. Look at that.
But, with things kind of quote unquote returning to normal, and we're back in the office more consistently. As you may or may not know, me and Rich work at the same company. That's how we met. But, it's just we want to be able to put on the production with passion and the effort it deserves. And right now, it's just like life is just kind of busy right now, so just is what it is. But it's been a hell of a run, man, and I've enjoyed every second of it.
Absolutely, man. I couldn't have put that any better myself. I think even last year when we started around March, our situations completely were completely different. There are different people that are in our life now. It's things have changed. We're back in the office, as you said. We were working from home a year ago. A lot more flexibility in that, and unfortunately, that flexibility has kind of ran out. And and good things too. Like we're getting back to normalcy, which is great, which is
Oh
what we
yeah.
need. And with normalcy, obviously, there are more plans to be had. There's more big events that are coming up that aren't being canceled, which are great. So good things are happening. So with that, again, we both wish we had this flexibility to put a lot of effort into the show. And there is a lot of effort put into this show. And I kind of take a little bit of the blame of it. I kind of, when I get into a show like this, I'm like, let's go. I want to be all in.
Go all in, right,
And once
right.
I started feeling like I wasn't all in, I think it was fair to say that it was time. So, but listen, I'm glad we're doing this for one more ride. It's been a pleasure, man. We'll get into obviously the more the thank yous and and talk on all of our supporters that have been a part of this ride for the last 30 episodes, and we'll get into that more later tonight. But it's fucking leading off, my man. And dude, it's been great. And ever since our last episode, I was able to luckily get all our episodes uploaded to YouTube in that spare time. So now, if you go to our YouTube page and you follow us on there, you can actually see all our episodes over time. And after tonight's episode, it will also be up on our YouTube page as well. So you can check out all our great memories, all our great segments
Rich,
on
are you
YouTube.
implying that we're going to be on the internet forever?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And once it's on the internet, it's true, man. It's true. And
Ain't
everything we
good at
say on
all.
the it's kind of funny though, going back on some of those old episodes and just looking at some of the hot takes we took at the beginning of the 2021 season, how absolutely fucking dead wrong we were. I had the Yankees winning 107 games and they barely cracked the playoffs.
Whoops.
Whoops. Bad mistake on my end.
I
But
think I might have gotten a little too cocky in April and May with DeGrom's season and
yeah,
his Bob Gibson campaign. But yeah,
and no
maybe
one
we'll
could
maybe we'll
really
be a little
blame
more
them.
modest with our hot takes this year.
We are. And we have a lot of those hot takes coming up later tonight. We have one more ESPO pick of the day, which I'm excited to hear, of course, how accurate ESPO is this time around, obviously. And then we have our early season predictions we're going to get into later tonight, which is going to be a lot of fun. But before we get into that, we start off our shows like we start off every single one of our shows with Ducks on the Pond, which is, of course, our news segment. We talk about all the baseball news happening around the world of the game. And as always, we get into injuries as first. Unfortunately for Carter Keyboom, he's headed to the 60-day IL with a flexor mass strain in his right forearm. And Keyboom kind of taking the reins of another great Nationals third baseman that retired over the offseason, and a third baseman who moved on and sold the soul for a big contract with the Angels. But Carter Keyboom is trying to hold it down, and unfortunately had a setback with this injury. And then Jack Flaherty and Alex Reyes also going down on the IL as well. Well, they're soon to be going on the IL as well. They are going to miss opening day with various injuries. So a couple of quick injury notes on some National League players there, Alex.
Yeah, I think the Flaherty injury there is the biggest of note. I mean, he's the ace of the staff in St. Louis, of course, and they don't really have a lot of depth behind him. I mean, they did bring in Happ and Lester last year, but both of those guys are gone, and it's just looking a little thin, that rotation. So I'm thinking maybe the Cardinals, if Flaherty is going to be out for an extended period of time, maybe they should entertain either signing or trading for another starter, because this is a pretty good team. But without an ace, they're not going anywhere.
And I think they become a suitor for a couple of those Oakland A pitchers, Sean Manaea and Frankie
Montas.
Montas, that Oakland has been kind of tossing around in trade rumors. So there's another suitor right there. And Cardinals could definitely use one of, if not both of those two to really bolster that stat. That National League Central is going to be up for grabs, as it seems to always be an up for grabs division. A lot of teams improved over this offseason. You got to feel that the Brewers will still be in the conversation. The one team that took quite the dramatic hit was the Cincinnati Reds, which was unfortunate because I think before the lockout, people said, oh, well, the Reds could make a couple of moves and they could be right in it. And they did the complete opposite. they did the reverse, and now they're a seller, and they'll probably be a bottom feeder by the end of the season. So
Poor Joey Votto. This is how he ends his Reds career in the dumpster.
awful. And speaking of Joey Votto, saw him tossed around Yankees Twitter as a possible trade target before they had re-signed Anthony Rizzo. And yeah, that would have been interesting. And you feel bad for the guy. You want to see that guy finally get to the big game. And
He
you know,
deserves it.
unfortunately, it might have to cost him being a career Cincinnati Red. You know, he's aging, and he's definitely a good representative of the game, and it's a guy that you would love to see win one day down the line. So,
No doubt.
good mention there. We do have a mention here in our chat from Core Ryan. Thanks for tuning in, bud. If Espo's pick of the day hits, I demand a new final episode of Leading Off. Wow.
Well, fortunately for you, not fortunately, because it's a bummer the show has to end, but if my track record of the ESPOD is any indication, this show is going to end.
Love the confidence. Nothing's changed from 2021 to 2022. Good stuff, bud. Actually, you know what's changed? What the hell is on your face, man? Holy shit.
Yeah, man.
You look like fucking
really
Mike Piazza's cracked out cousin.
Yeah, so there's a Scooby-Doo convention next month, and no, I'm kidding. But yeah, you know, I've just been experimenting with it. I don't really have any major obligations to go to. I do have a wedding next month to attend, so this will
all right, Scoob. Okay,
this will be
it's a
finally
horrible
going.
Shaggy impersonation.
Yoink, Scoob. Okay,
Jesus Christ.
I'm done. I'm out.
I love it. So Espo's next project is to become a Scooby-Doo cosplayer. But all right, have fun at the wedding, dude. Seriously.
Yeah, it'll be great.
Our next note, Trevor's story. Not a great note because this was hard. It was a hard pill to swallow. Trevor Story is on his way to Boston in 6 years, $140 million with an opt-out after 2025. The Red Sox making the surprise move for Story. Another team that from the moment the offseason started, you did not think was in the hunt for Trevor Story. They obviously have Xander Bogaerts holding it down at shortstop. Story initially not willing to move off a shortstop and was really trying to fill that position for a team. That position was filled on a lot of teams. Hell, the Texas Rangers took 2 shortstops, and one's going to be headed to second base, position he played last year, Marcus Semien. But the shortstops went quick. And unfortunately for Story, he was the last to go there. And Boston had an interest in him. And obviously the Yankees were somewhat in play. They obviously weren't fully in play. And there are even talks that maybe Colorado could look at him for maybe a short-term contract. But Story ended up taking 6 years. And hell, listen, good for him. 6 years, $140 million at about 2 weeks before the season starting. Good on Story. So he'll play for a team that's going to obviously be in contention of the playoffs.
Yeah, Rich, you're probably going to hate to hear this as a Yankees fan, but I absolutely love this signing for the Sox. I think Story, he has his great versatility. Man, that's a difficult word sometimes. You know, obviously they have Bogaerts at shortstop, but he's not under contract long term. So this does offer them some flexibility if they decide they don't want to pay the X-Man, which I think they should. But Story and Bogaerts could be quite a formidable combo for years to come if they decide to keep them together.
Yeah, that is correct. Bogaerts at the earliest could be a free agent. I believe in 2026. Do I have that incorrect? I feel like that's incorrect.
I thought he was able to opt out after this season.
I feel like that's incorrect. I don't know. I feel like Baseball Reference is fucking me over here right now. Well, if anybody can find it, I have
one
free
thing's for
agent
certain,
after
Rich.
2026.
The Yankees didn't sign any big name shortstops this year, but you're not too upset. As I recall from our conversations.
Bogaerts is signed through. Yeah, that's correct. He's signed through 2025. He signed a 6-year, $120 million contract for 2025. So Trevor Story is going to be the second baseman for a while, which is crazy. I guess another consideration is Bogaerts had previously played third base at one point. You know, if Devers goes down with an injury, you can have flexibility there. So you have a couple guys who can kick around to different infield positions. But for Story, I mean, at that rate, it's all about the money. You give shit about that position. Doesn't matter. And from the Yankees side, I didn't really care. I was like, if the Yankees had gone out and signed Story, that would just been purely a fan pleasing move and
Mm,
not a move that would have made sense. If
long
the
term
Yankees
at
wanted a
least.
shortstop, they would have already signed that shortstop. You
Right.
had two guys that made more sense for the team, and clearly in the Kiner Falefa trade, they said that that's going to be our guy. But in reality, our guy is named Anthony Volpe, and he might come into play at the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, but it's a lot invested in this kid that
Oh
they
yeah.
are refusing to give up on,
Hey,
Espo.
Rich, just curious, where's Anthony Volpe from?
Anthony Volpe, I think he's a Jersey kid, if
You're
I'm not
goddamn right
mistaken.
he is. Dale Barton.
Del Barton, okay.
So I have no choice but to root for the guy. I mean, can you
Volpe
not?
ranked high in the prospect list as well. I think he's up
Listen,
at the
the
number 8
last
rank.
time the last time the Yankees got a shortstop from New Jersey, I think it worked out pretty well.
Yes, I think it did. I think it did.
Not saying this guy's gonna be no Jeter or nothing, but you know.
Wait, I thought Jeter was a Kalamazoo, Michigan guy.
If you want to get technical, yeah, but I think he's from Pequannock.
Fair.
I don't know if he grew up there, but in either case, regarding the Yankees shortstop situation, I think IKF Isaiah Kiner Falafel. I can't not call him Isaiah
Falafel.
Kiner Falafel.
Kiner Falafel.
Kiner Falafel.
Isaiah Kiner Falefa.
Falefa
Yeah, and
Falafel.
I'll tell you, in the minimal spring training games that have been televised so far, seeing him up at the plate, guy looks like just a pure contact guy.
The guy's a
Very
stud.
reminiscent of when the Yankees signed DJ LeMahieu a couple of years ago, and there weren't high expectations, but there was a good track record there for that man's career, and you knew that hey, at the very least, you can move him around the field. But kind of Fleff is stepping into a big role that had a lot of pressure on its position in the last year. So I think Kiner Fleff is going to take into the role greatly. Huge Yankee fan, grew up a Jeter fan. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to be a guy that the Yankee fans are going to grow on to quickly. Donaldson, on the other hand, might take some getting used to. Might take
He's a
some getting
little
used
he's a
to.
little bit
There's some
over the
years.
hill, but we'll see if he can see if he still has anything left in the tank. But one thing is for certain, Rich, and that is Yankee fans will be very happy. At least I'm thinking Yankee fans will be happy now that Gary Sanchez is no longer in pinstripes. Or is it more mixed feelings?
Mixed feelings because I'm the type to. I'm always Team Gary
Right.
because what he can't bring in the field, he definitely could bring with the bat on
Mm,
any good goddamn given day.
right.
When you need that major hit at the bottom of the order, and it's either Gary Sanchez or Kyle Higashioka, it's
Mm,
Gary I'm taking all the way. When the Yankees needed the offense the most in the American League wild card game, I didn't really give a shit about Garrett Cole's preference. They needed the bat at the bottom of
right.
the order. They needed Sanchez in that lineup because Higashioka wasn't going to be the one that was going to drive the big hits in, or at least give them a chance to say, all right, he could be a difference maker here. And clearly in that game, they needed the bats and the pitching because the pitching still was not
Mm,
there on
mm-mm.
that day. But that was a sad day. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean, I guess it is definitely. I would feel bittersweet seeing Gary go. I mean, he's got a lot of.
it's
I feel like there's
bittersweet.
more positive memories than negative ones as a
It's
Yankee. I
bittersweet.
mean,
I think any Yankee fan who sits there is like, "Oh, well, the guy, we get rid of this guy." It's like I think you're gonna realize come middle of the year that when you want that extra thump in the lineup, damn, it would have been nice to have Gary up in that spot. But hey, they're gonna take a chance on this kid, Ben, who unfortunately I can't even say his fucking last name, Rorvet.
I don't
Uh,
know how to say his name, but I saw that clip of him in the gym.
oh, dude, jacked as
Dude,
hell. That's nice.
swole as hell.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah. Definitely gonna miss Gary though. Gonna miss Gio. I thought he was an implementary heart and soul player, a guy that I think epitomized the next man up mentality in that 2019 to 2020 stretch, where it was a guy that basically came from nothing and fucking did a great job on this team. So yeah, obviously it's bittersweet. I'm gonna miss them both. But it's time to shake things up, I guess. And they felt shaking it up meant taking on a young shortstop that can be a dynamic player and an aging 37-year-old that costs $50 million. And the Yankees, the second tier of their payroll. So
It's
that's
just
great.
funny that the Yankees are the ones, taking a salary off the books for another team to make a big signing. It seems like
So
in the past the roles would always be reversed, but what a
doesn't
world we
make
live in.
sense. Doesn't make sense. But I hope Josh grows on me and other Yankee fans. But it's way too early to tell. We move on to our last point. The Nationals have announced that they're going to retire the number 11 in honor of Ryan Zimmerman. Obviously, Ryan, a two-time All-Star and had a good career, man. Played from 2005 to 2021 with the same team. Well over 1,000 RBIs, over a 275 batting average career-wise. A good career. I wouldn't say a Hall of Fame career. I probably wouldn't even say Hall of Very Good. I have to say he was a fan favorite, and he's a guy that's definitely going to be missed in Washington. But they're going to honor him following his last year with the ultimate respect, retiring his number. The first National to get their number retired since the Nats took over the franchise. So really cool moment for Zimmerman.
Oh yeah, definitely a worthy accolade for the Z-Man, as they called him, Mr. National, if you will. But yeah, pretty illustrious career for him in the Nationals. But Hall of Fame, no. Hall of Very Good, maybe. I don't even think he's of that quality, but he is definitely a hero for the Nationals now and forever. And
one take I saw, and I want to get your comments on this. One take I
sure.
saw on Twitter was Ryan Zimmerman. As a Mets fan, Ryan Zimmerman's one of my favorite non-Mets
Okay.
in baseball. Who are some of your favorite non-Met players?
Oh, my favorite non-Mets. I mean, so do I? I mean, I guess my favorite non-Mets. Most of the time, these favorite Mets are the ones that kill us. So I did really enjoy watching Stanton when he was on Miami, even
Oh,
though he would crush us every time. That was always fun. But I think I gotta go with Freddie. He's just
Freddie.
how can you dislike Freddie Freeman? He's just an all-American dude.
Well, even Atlanta doesn't dislike Freddie Freeman. And how about that? I mean,
The front
listen,
office does.
it's not a note in our ducks on the pond because it is a little bit of old news, but who would have bet, man, from our last episode to now that Freddie Freeman would not stay put in Atlanta and end up with the Los Angeles Dodgers, a team that his team has been eliminated from multiple times in the postseason. But yeah, and obviously they returned the favor this past postseason. But damn, Freddie Freeman, a Dodger. Never thought I'd say those words.
Yeah, I think it's probably the most shocking move of the offseason for a number of reasons, but I don't blame him for leaving. I mean, he deserved that bag, every penny of it, and the Braves didn't want to give it to him, so I think he ended up getting a similar salary to what Olsen got from the Braves. So it just kind of rubs me the wrong way that the Braves would trade away the face of their franchise. I'm sorry, let the face of their franchise walk away, trade for a guy, and sell half of their farm system when you could have just re-signed Freddie in the first place. But
That's kind of the take that I've been seeing. And in the same token, you take on a first baseman that's younger. That
right,
now you given this contract to, you have basically, arguably for the prime of his career, he's a lefty first baseman. I think it came down to, hey, listen, this Freddie's fantastic. He's 33 years old, turning 33 in September. And we just don't want to pay a guy into his late 30s.
mm,
Braves have a specific system they're following, and unfortunately, if it means cutting or moving past one of their all-time fan favorites, a guy whose number is definitely going to get retired one day, then that's the move they're going to have to make. And unfortunately, it's tough. But hell, I can't even think of a better way to end my tenure with a team than winning a World Series with that team. So I think he couldn't have gone off on a better note, and now he gets to get paid and play at home. So I think it's a good story for both sides. Freeman gets his contract that he's always wanted. He gets to play it in his hometown. Olsen goes to Atlanta. The Braves already won the World Series. They're playing with house money to begin with, and I think they became a better team this offseason. And sometimes it's hard to do when you're already a World Series champion. How do you get better from a World Series winning two? We'll
well,
talk more about that in a little
getting
bit.
Mr. Acuna back will certainly help. But
Yeah, I think that helped. I mean, that's
you
a
sure
pretty
like the
acquisition.
Braves a lot this year, Rich. More on
Yeah.
that later.
More on that later. More on that later. But you can follow us on Twitter. Now, again, show's ending tonight, but we still have Twitter. We still have L Off Podcast. And if we feel like, throwing out some baseball takes, I guess there's nothing, it's not off the table. I mean, if we
There are
wanted
no
to
rules on
use it
Twitter,
and
Rich.
hide behind the L Off Podcast Twitter handle to make some takes, I guess we could do that as well. So hey, still follow us. We'll talk some baseball on there. But you can follow Espo at
The Life of Espo.
and you can follow me at Rich J Rivera. Now, let's put the focus back on Espo. There was a little segment that was created back early in the first and only season of Leading Off, where we were going to have this cool betting angle that Espo really wanted to spearhead here on the show. And we were trying to come up with a name, and we couldn't come up with a good name. I was up at night thinking, oh my God, what's going to be a good name for this betting angle? And Espo comes at me with, how about the ESPOTD? The Espo pick of the day. Literally half of his nickname right in the fucking title of the segment. So
I should really get this copyrighted, Rich.
And he can, because I can't use that moving forward. But it is the Espo pick of the day for one final time. The ESPOTD. Espo, take it away.
Hello, Richard. It is I, Espo, king of the ESPOTD.
King of the bad.
Or more so like a jester, because, man, I did not have a lot of success with my ESPOTD, which
you did not.
Quite ironic, because I feel like I do have pretty decent success with my sports bets, but it's just whenever I would choose my designated, star pick of the night, it would almost always lose, but my other bets would almost always come through. So it's just funny how that worked out. But so seeing as it's spring training, not a whole lot of options in terms of bets. So we can bet on spring training games taking place this week, but I'm not sure anyone wants to do that. So not even me, and I'm pretty degenerate, but I can't do that. I digress. Let's go with a future here, and I think I'm going to go with a player to lead the league in home runs, and it is a player you just mentioned, believe it or not, and that is Matt Olson to lead the major leagues in home runs. Pretty long shot bet. He's 13-1 right now, looking at DraftKings. So he's got a few names ahead of him, like the Trouts and Vlads and Alonsos of the world. But back to what you were saying, I think the Braves might have actually gotten better this offseason. Olson, great hitter in Oakland, not the best team around him, and now he'll go to a great lineup in Atlanta, and he'll have Ronald Acuna and Austin Riley hitting on opposite sides of him. He's going to get a lot of good pitches to hit, so I think he could challenge 50 home runs plus. We'll see.
Wow. All right, Matt Olson leading the National League in home runs. You would suffice to say that within his division, you have some tough pitching to handle. If on an unlucky day, if you're talking a Max Scherzer or Jacob deGrom, or you're talking a Zach Wheeler or Aaron Nola, even the Marlins got some young firearms down there, and Trevor Rogers and Sandy Alcantara. So you have a few good pitchers in that loaded National League East division, but Matt Olson's a left-handed hitter. And a lot of those guys I just mentioned, right-handed hitters. And Olson, a tailor-made swing for a ballpark like Atlanta. Definitely a tailor-made swing for a ballpark like Yankee Stadium, but that's fucking unfortunate, isn't it? But yeah, I like to pick Matt Olson in his first year, nonetheless, in Atlanta, leading the league in home runs. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any data to back this up, but I just feel like whenever guys go from the American League to the National League, it just seems easier. I don't know. Everything all right?
Screen on my fucking backdrop over there saying this thing's about to restart.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be back, and Espo is gonna take it away with his beautiful singing voice. Here you go. Oh, here you go.
I definitely do not want to do any singing, but yeah, I hope you did not tail any of my betting picks in the last season. Otherwise, you'd be down a lot of money. But if there was one pick you did tail, it was the Braves to win the World Series, parlayed with the Milwaukee Bucks to win the NBA Finals. I know, a bit of a ridiculous bet, but hey, it paid for all my other bets this year. So I am even as a Mets fan, I am grateful for the Braves for cashing big time last season.
And how much did you win from that bet, bud?
$700 off a $5 bet. I did need the Milwaukee Bucks to win the NBA as well, but they won't be doing that again this year. Don't worry.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in all your future bets. And obviously, if you want to keep posted on Espo's picks of the day or week or month or whatever he plans on doing, make sure to follow him at The Life of Espo. And while we're talking about social medias and things to follow, obviously, if you're tuned in tonight, great. Thank you for joining us. But tell your friends about the show. This is the last one. To make sure to download the Twitch app, which is, of course, download the Twitch app, but also find us Leading Off Podcast. The link, obviously, in our bio on Twitter. So if you're following us on Twitter, L Off Podcast there. It has the direct link to tonight's show, so make sure to send it over to your friends as well, and try to get this audience thing bumped up, because it's it. Final episode of the show. We're at 8:30 p.m. on the East Coast, which means it's time for our big segment of the night, which is going to be our MLB 2022 season predictions, which we're doing just about a week and a half shy of the regular season starting. I can't believe it, because 2 weeks ago, this was not even a thought that this might even happen, and yet we were able to get baseball solved. Where were you when it was announced that the players and Major League Baseball came to terms on a new CBA, and how did you react?
When was this again?
This was on Thursday,
The
March the 8th, 9th? What was that?
8th,
Oh,
9th,
March the 10th.
Dude, I don't even remember. That was so long ago. So much. I'm dead serious. I feel like so much has happened in between then, baseball wise, that it's just like, wow, that happened this month. It seems like a year ago, just because we've had such a flurry of trades and free agent signings. And, on top of that, we've had March Madness and NFL free agency. And it's just been a whirlwind of a month. But I would say I was ecstatic when I first heard that news, and I can't even remember where I was. I was busy doing something, but I probably had a few friends text me. They're like, "Baseball is back," and I'm like, "Man, I got to go on Twitter and see if Jeff Passan tweeted it. Otherwise, it's not true." And he did. So I think I poured myself a glass of whiskey
And
I
that
did
was
not
that
chug
was
it. I
Espo's
sipped it
excitement. He
slowly.
just, I think Espo was just like,
Nice celebration
and that was
time.
it. That's Espo's level of excitement, folks. But yes, I was excited. I couldn't believe it. I was going out for fucking margaritas and tacos that night.
Nice.
I was gonna have a beautiful night of great eating to celebrate that Major League Baseball was returning, and I'm happy that that they were able to come to this agreement. But now we're just days away
Oh, wait,
from
time out. Before we
opening
get
day.
into that, Rob Manfred, you're still a piece of shit. Okay.
Oh yeah, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. Hate that guy.
Fucking bum.
But all right,
And he was
let's
fucking
get into it.
smiling on the press conference when they announced that they were canceling games. What a
God.
smug fucking prick.
Oh yeah, it took the words out of my mouth. Smug fucking face, man. Couldn't stand it.
Vaffanculo.
Yeah, absolutely. A guy who's out of touch and has no concept of what people want in the game. And that man needs a beating. But
Guy's a
before we
schmuck.
get into that, let's talk about MLB 2022 and mainly predict what's going to happen this season. And we're going to run through it pretty quickly, kind of go through a couple of the main awards and our World Series matchups. So big time predictions for the year that we're going to sum up in just a few minutes here on the show. And obviously, I'm paying attention to our comments here on Twitch. So as we go along, kind of want to see your predictions as well. We're going to start off with a big one. Who will be the most valuable player of both the American League and National League by season's end? Espo, who do you got for both the AL and the NL?
Well, we'll start out with the American League, and the King stay the king. I got to go with Shohei Ohtani again. I think he did sort of tail off a little bit to end the year last year, but I think he's, another fully healthy year and another year in the States under his belt. He's only gonna hit better, I think, this year, and pitching wise, as long as he could stay healthy, he's going to be the ace of that staff. That's right, I said it. Screw you, Syndergaard. Yeah,
No
I
problem.
think Ohtani could clear 50 dingers this year, and I did see there is a rule change in that if the pitcher comes out of the game, he can still be the DH. Unofficially, this will be the Ohtani rule.
Yes, I think that's the new hook rule that they're talking about. But who's your National League MVP while we're at it?
For the National League, it's another guy who has won it in the past, but he hasn't won it for a few years. not since he was a member of the Red Sox, and that would be Mr. Mookie Betts. I think he's due for a bounce back this year. He was hurt last year. He had some lingering, nagging injuries that just kind of put a dent in his season and was never really able to get into a good rhythm. And I think with a clean bill of health this year and a really deep lineup, he's just going to mash.
So I will say, when I made these picks, Bud, that I didn't want to jinx two things. I didn't want to jinx my favorite team, and I didn't want to jinx my fantasy team. So when trying to make these selections, I tried to avoid all that, even if the selections that I missed on might have been the better choice. I'll just preface it with that.
Rich,
So
we're journalists. We're supposed to be objective.
objective, right?
We're not.
So the AL and NL MVP, both juniors. We got Vlad Jr., which is funny you brought up Shohei, who won the MVP over Vlad. Well, I got Vlad winning it over Shohei in this case. I think Vlad's going to have a monster year. He's come into camp in better shape than he already was. I remember he cut down a lot of pounds going into the 2021 season, had the monster year that he had, and he's already lost a lot more weight now, too. So Vlad Guerrero Jr. in the American League. In the National League, even though he's going to miss some time at the beginning of the year, I got Ronald Acuna Jr., and I don't have a fucking graphic for him, but I got Ronald Acuna Jr. Coming back in a big way and having a big-time year. And I got Acuna winning it for the National League, and he's going to be a big part of why the Braves make it on back to the dance, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
I love both of those picks, Rich, but I got to say, Vladdy is definitely the best one of the bunch. He very well could have won it last year, and he maybe, if not for Ohtani's historic season, should have won it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, who are your Cy Youngs, dude?
The Cy Youngs, well, Rich, much like what you were saying before, I do not want to jinx my team. So while there are two New York aces that are very, very fitting candidates for the Cy Young, and I hope that they're 1 and 2. I won't pick them. I just know I'm going to jinx them if I do. So I'm going to go with a former Met and a guy who I thought should have won it last year, and I think that's going to provide him with some extra motivation this year, Mr. Zach Wheeler, ace of the Phillies and breaker
completely
of my
objective
heart.
pick.
Yeah, he's an amazing pitcher, and I'm still very salty that the Mets let him go a few years ago, and they will continue to regret it for years to come. And they will regret it even more when this man adds a Cy Young to his trophy case.
Let's remind our audience members that Espo is a huge Met fan, and there are two great pitchers that pitch for the New York Mets that he refuses to take once again. But I'm gonna take one of those pitchers in a little bit. But who's your American League pick?
American League? Well, Rich, boy, I sure hope I don't jinx this one.
Oh, fuck.
Garrett Cole, New York Yankees.
There we go.
Highest paid pitcher in baseball.
And now that Espo said it, Garrett's going to have a 5.37 ERA and probably only pitch half a season.
No, I think he's gonna have a great year as he did last year. Faded maybe a little bit down the stretch, and got to give credit to Robbie Ray, obviously a season for the ages. But I think he's going to come into this year ready, and he's just going to mow down opposing hitters. I think he could challenge for 300K. So Garrett Cole is my Cy.
I mean, I guess that's an okay pick. I mean, whatever. Like, whatever. No big deal. All right. Anyway, my American League and National League picks. I said that I was going to take one of those New York Mets because Espo wouldn't. Oh, that was a spoiler. But Jacob deGrom. I had deGrom coming back in a with a force, man. Gonna have a fucking hell of a season. He's gonna win that Cy Young away from his teammate Max Scherzer. But that's gonna be a fun race, and you're gonna see some great pitchers. Again, try to stay away from some fantasy baseball players that might pitch for my current team. But deGrom, the New York guy, and Espo was nice enough to take Garrett Cole, so I figured I'd toss one over to the Metsies.
It's actually
Mr. deGrom. All right, my American League pick, interesting one. A guy who did win the Cy Young Award previously is Shane Bieber. And I'm a little bit more serious on this one, as much as I would love to just select Garrett Cole and call it a day. But I think Bieber is going to open up the Cleveland Guardian franchise with a nice award at the end of the year, and the Guardians could possibly have a surprise season with Bieber coming back at full stretch and having a good season. I think Shane Bieber is going to be the guy for the American League, and that's That's not even just trying to not jinx my own player. But yeah, I think Bieber is going to have a good season for the Guardians.
This guy is an absolute ace pitcher. He obviously had the injuries last year, but this guy's only 2 years off one of, given it was a pandemic shortened season, but one of the more impressive seasons for a pitcher we've seen in quite some time. And the
Oh God,
Guardians.
who the fuck are they?
Oh no, do I have to donate to
Oh
now
no.
something? But yeah, the Indians. I did it again. See, the
Wow.
Guardians. It's gonna
Yeah,
take a while.
you're just fucking doing it, man. You're just saying, oh, that's it. My last episode, I'm just saying whatever the fuck I want to say.
The
All right.
Guardians won't be a great team this year. They've been trading a lot of guys away in recent years, including the Mr. Met Francisco Lindor. But yeah, I think Bieber's definitely going to bounce back this year and is a good pick for the Cy. But regarding your Cy Young pick, Jake DeGrom, that reminds me somewhat of a quasi ESPO TD here. Whenever Jacob DeGrom is pitching, make sure to bet the under because obviously DeGrom's going to keep the other team off the board, but it's just uncanny. Whenever DeGrom's pitching, the Mets offense turns into that of a little league team. It's crazy. I can't explain it, but it's just take the under.
And for somebody who plays so many bad bets on this show, I think that's a fair take for ESPO. Yeah, so bet the under on the Mets on a DeGrom day. But speaking of DeGrom, Mikey Pars 92 says, great DeGrom picture, haha. Looks high as fuck. Does he look high as fuck in this picture, everybody?
We got to
Does he
go
look
back.
high? He looks pretty pissed.
A little squinty.
A little squinty? That's what you should know. I have no idea. But yeah, no, there it is. Oh yeah. Oh, with the shaggy.
I don't even know what that is. What? The devil's lettuce? Who is that?
ESPO, you need a fucking haircut, dude. All right, let's move on to Rookie of the Year, and this is fun. I love talking about prospects at the beginning. You see all the prospects list dropping out, and this seems like this always seems to be that award that everybody just gets wrong from the beginning of the year. Everybody could go with whoever the favorite prospects are, which we're probably gonna end up doing anyway here. But we got some interesting picks along the way. So ESPO, start off. Who are your AL and NL Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, so starting off with the NL, I'm going to go with the crown jewel of the Cubs free agency, Mr. Seiya Suzuki, making his major league debut from Japan. I think a lot of guys that come over to the States tend to struggle coming over from a Japan or Korean team, but Suzuki, I think, is going to rake at Wrigley Field and is going to put up great numbers for the Cubs. Only 27 years old, too, so I think he's still got room to improve, too. I like Seiya.
Seiya Suzuki, a surprise signing, but the Cubs also said they were going to spend a lot of money this offseason, and he did not pull back on that. And your American League pick?
My American League pick, I think the American League pool is definitely a lot deeper this year in terms of rookies, but I got to go with Bobby Witt Jr., who's going to be the shortstop for the Royals. I've been watching some highlights of this kid in spring training, and he's just absolutely raking and just tearing the cover off the ball. Number one prospect in baseball for a good reason.
I would also think selecting the number one prospect in all of baseball as the pick here is a safe bet.
Also somewhat of a hedge in fantasy because my arch nemesis in my dynasty league has him. So who knows? Maybe he'll break his leg on opening day. No, we don't wish for that. But
oh God! All right,
I would wish for he bats 220 and gets sent down and doesn't come back until later in the summer. But then he's a free agent, and then I pick him up, and then he starts smashing again. It's all part of my plan.
Yes, I gotcha. Let's move on to my Roys, as we like to call them. Adley Rutschman for the American League, and I just made fun of ESPO for Bobby, but maybe I should just take the hit here for Adley Rutschman, who's been highly touted, of course, of the last couple seasons. It would be nice to see an Oriole win an award. It'd be cool to see the Orioles start to make moves in the American League East. Try to maybe, just maybe turn that needle a little bit. But Rutschman could be the guy, the driving force behind that, and I think he's going to come up and have a big year. They already seem to open up that spot for him. They only have one catcher on their depth chart that has a good major league experience, and that's Robinson Chirinos. guy who's kicked around with different teams over the last few years, but he's their guy going starting the year off. And obviously, it's just to pass the baton right over to Adley, who probably will see as early May, maybe sooner than that. So Adley Rushman in a full season, he's going to be the rookie of the year for the American League. In the National League, it's O'Neal Cruz for me, man. I like this kid, lanky guy, shortstop, and another just like the situation with Adley, shortstop is pretty much up for grabs in Pittsburgh, and O'Neal Cruz could be a guy who breaks camp into that position. So, I see O'Neal Cruz grabbing the National League Rookie of the Year for the Pirates. Look at the Orioles and Pirates winning awards on this show. So
they need all the good news and happy news they can get, because it's not looking too good otherwise for them.
Not at all. Our last set of predictions, and we're going right for it, buddy. World Series. Who's going to face each other? Who's going to win? And who's the MVP of that World Series? ESPO, take it away.
Subway Series, obviously. Yeah. Well, that's what I hope for. But what I think is going to happen is it's going to be the Dodgers coming out of the National League. I think they still have the clear-cut best roster, top to bottom. I do think the Mets pitching staff is better than theirs now, but man, that Dodgers lineup that's just a murderer's row. And I don't want to insult you here and invoke the 1927 Yankees, but man, all-star after all-star after MVP after MVP in this lineup, man. It's too deep. I don't see any team stopping this offense. So, Dodgers in the NL, and in the American League, everyone and their mother's picking them this year. So I might as well get on the bandwagon. Let's go with the Toronto Blue Jays.
There it is.
Coming out of the AL. Again, another murderer's row of a starting lineup. The pitching staff is good, not great, but on the strength of that offense, I think they could win the pennant.
The Jays and the Dodgers. Those are good picks. I'm sure they're towards the top of the betting favorites to win the World Series, along with a team like Houston, as usual. But yeah, hell of an offseason for both teams once again. And these are two teams that will definitely be in the conversation. I have a hard time thinking that either one of these teams are going to miss the playoffs. And if they get there, they're going to make a big impact. I also, unfortunately, have the Toronto Blue Jays making it for the American League. Their lineup is stacked. Their pitching is stacked. I will say, I think their offense, although good, I think Semien is a better hitter than Chapman. And if we're just taking one for one, but you also get a healthy, hopefully a healthy George Springer for them. And obviously, the homegrown guys have another season on their books. Maybe Kevin Biggio wakes up this year and has a good season. But the pitching is what really scares me. And that's a team that's losing their reigning American League Cy Young Award winner. You're taking on Kevin Gausman and Yusei Kikuchi, and you have Jose Barrios in that rotation as well. It's a solid team, man. It is a solid fucking team.
It's gonna come down to Gausman, I think. He had a great year with San Francisco last year, but other than that, kind of a lackluster career thus far. So we'll see if that season last year was just a fluke.
I agree, and that lackluster career predominantly in the American League East
Orioles,
with the Orioles. So something to consider. But I think the Jays will also make it though on the American League side. But I think they're going to fall short to the reigning and defending World Series champion Atlanta Braves. And how can you not think of the Braves? And Met fans might hate me, and it's not a biased pick. I'm not trying to jinx your team. I'm sure they'd hate me if I picked the Mets at the same time. But adding Matt Olson, who's I think is the perfect replacement of Freddie Freeman, and taking on Ronald Acuna, getting Ronald Acuna Jr. back in there. I think if this team makes a couple of awesome moves, need be in the trade deadline, maybe another pitcher,
another ace.
Depending on what happens with the team, obviously injuries and whatnot, they make a couple moves at that deadline if they're in a good position to do so. I think the Braves are going to be a fucking scary team in the National League, and they'll top even the Dodgers, who again, Dodgers, fantastic lineup. Pitching's a little suspect. To be honest right now. Yeah, you talk about the top three, and those guys are scary enough, but Kershaw's an older pitcher. You're really relying on Bueller and Urias. Don't know the situation with Bauer. And then you have a bunch of guys that are going to log in innings. You got your Andrew Heaney's and your Tony Gosselins, but there's no – I don't feel too scared when I look at that Dodgers pitching staff. They're going to be a great team. They're going to be in it. They're going to make a big move at the deadline. I think the Braves, though, they were just there, and they're going to get back there. It might be a safe pick to go with the defending World Series champions, but I'm going to go with them as the winners. And I got Austin Riley as the World Series MVP.
Nice. I was going to say one crucial piece that I think fell under the radar for the Dodgers was losing Kenley Jansen to the Braves. Not only did they get weaker, their arch rival got better, and the Braves bullpen was definitely a sore point for them in previous years. And the Dodgers don't have that stopper in Jansen anymore, so that'll be an interesting dynamic to see how the Dodgers move on without him. But I think Treinen, well, definitely a good closer. Jansen's he's just been through it. He's a veteran that's been through every imaginable postseason scenario, and I think could be a difference maker for the Braves come October.
He very well can. That was a good move for Atlanta. They definitely could use another back end of the bullpen guy. They did have some pretty good stable forces in there, and Will Smith and Tyler Matzik. Luke Jackson had a nice 2021 campaign, but the Braves, I guess you can never have enough for relievers. You can never have enough pitching. But yeah, it's a scary team. It's a scary team now, and I can't even imagine how it's going to look when Acuna rejoins that staff and, whoever they end up adding middle of the year. So, yeah, safe bet, you want to call it, going with the defending champs. The Atlanta Braves are going to repeat in 2022.
And your World Series MVP, who was it again?
Austin Riley.
Austin Stone Cold Riley. I love it.
Oh, yeah.
I think I failed to mention mine. I'm going with Mr. Freddie Freeman, the World Series MVP. So how ironic. I think the Braves are going to regret letting him go, man. He's still got a lot of clutch years left in the tank.
Paying early dividends for the Dodgers. Freddie Freeman. Oh, man, what a pick that would be. All righty. We're going to move on. Obviously, we have our Twitters below once again for all you there. But we like this. We like ending our show with a fun segment. And I was trying to think of which segment we wanted to go with. We could have went with a bracket. We could have went with fan-submitted questions. We could have really gone back and go with a what if. But we decided to end with one of our favorites, and that segment, of course, is Who Am I? Our baseball player guessing game. Actually, there's a fun game out there that has really taken the world by storm over the last couple of months. A game called Wordle, and everybody's going nuts about Wordle. I don't know if you're a big Wordle guy.
I have never played it once.
Wow,
I have no interest.
Uncultured fucking swine.
I guess I am.
Play some goddamn Wordle and educate your brain. But anyway, there is a similar game, a baseball version game called Wardle, spelled Wardle.
Now you're speaking my language.
Now that's a game I think you would like because you get to guess a baseball player based on how they bat, what country they're from, what team they play for, what division they play for. So really fun game. Who Am I is kind of in that sense a Wardle, but we give you the hints, you give us the player. And that's really that. But it's really Espo and I playing each other. But I'll be looking in the comments for your guesses as well. Espo, I'm going to start.
Okay.
With my Who Am I, who unfortunately just lost on Baseball Reference. And here he is right now. Okay. I played for 11 years in the big leagues. I was drafted by the Texas Rangers in 1994. I was an outfielder for all of my career. Primarily played left field.
Mm-hmm.
I am a World Series champion and a one-time All-Star. I started my career in 2001, ended my career in 2012, and the team that I primarily am known for being a part of is the Chicago White Sox. And indeed,
90s.
The World Series that I won was with the Chicago White Sox.
Okay. One All-Star. Drafted in the 90s.
22.
Oh, man, this is tough. And you said he was drafted in the 90s?
Drafted in the mid-90s.
Okay. Okay.
Again, checking for your comments here in the chat, everybody.
One All-Star game. Let me think here. Well, it couldn't have been Frank Thomas because that dude
No.
made like 50 All-Star
The
games.
guy, and this guy profiles is like the complete opposite of what Frank Thomas would be.
Huh. Right.
This
Man.
guy was a left-handed hitter who was known for his speed. Leadoff hitter.
Well, leadoff hitter, White Sox, speed. It can only be one man here, Rich. Scotty Pods.
It is Scotty Pods, the Podfather.
Scott
Podsednik,
man.
is the
that
guy.
That dude had some fucking wheels back in the day.
Good fucking player, man. Love Scotty Podsednik. One of my favorite guys to acquire in MVP baseball 2005 and have him lead off at the top of the order.
Just steal like 100 bases.
What a guy! All right,
yeah.
Espo, what do you got?
Scotty Pods, man. I'm just reminiscing on that 2005 White Sox team, and they had a lot of fun guys. You know, Frank.
He
Thomas,
had a walk-off homer, I think, too, in that World Series.
It was a grand slam too. Walk-off grand slam, rare.
Oh yeah.
But Paul Konerko, the boy.
Oh yeah,
Mr. White Sox.
What a team, man! Jermaine Dye.
They were a fucking wagon of a team, man.
Yeah, Thomas
Brzezinski, he packed some punch at catcher.
Love that. One of my favorite brawls in baseball history. Joe Creedy, good team. Tadahito Iguchi. Oh man,
Uribe.
Love
and
those
don't
guys.
Forget who their manager was. The Fireball.
The fiery, always controversial Ozzie Guillen.
Oh yeah, always great. But
what a guy.
Anyways, enough about these White Sox. It's time for me to stump you, Rich. Who am I? I played for only 2 teams in my major league career, and they were the Yankees and the Red Sox.
Kevin
Euclid won multiple World Series titles.
Kevin Euclid.
Nope.
Multiple World Series title, play for 2 teams, Yankees, Red Sox. Come on, Rich.
All right, let me try and give you another one that's not going to give it away.
Nah, I feel I can get it.
Yeah, the next hint is definitely...
I don't want it to be a dead giveaway.
Okay. He finished second in MVP voting to Justin Verlander.
Oh, so this is a recent guy.
Yes. He is from... His career was in the mid-2000s.
He was what, 20... Was it 2011 that he won the MVP?
Justin won in 2011, yes.
Who was with the Yankees or the Red Sox then?
That's the question, Rich, ain't it?
Holy shit. Come on, Rich.
He hit 32 home runs in his free agent walk year, and then his power was never seen again.
Why the fuck am I drawing a blank here?
He led the major leagues in steals 3 times.
Okay. Oh, duh! Fucking
He's got one of the worst contracts in Yankees history.
It's Jacoby Ellsbury.
Yep.
Fucking asshole, that guy. Oh my god. How did I fuck that up? How did I fuck that up? Mikey Parr's got it right. Jacoby.
Well, as bad as you fucked it up, Rich, you didn't fuck it up as bad as Brian Cashman.
No, I did not fuck it up as bad as Brian Cashman. One of the worst, if not the worst, signing in the history of the New York Yankee franchise.
Hey, they still paying Hicks too?
A complete answer to Robbie Cano signing with Seattle. A move that was completely unnecessary because they had a young Brett Gardner that actually was kind of decent then and not annoying to put in a lineup and give a 1-year contract.
Young Brett Gardner? That's an oxymoron. Brett Gardner, I only know is like the 70-year-old Yankees bench player.
Yeah,
there was a time when Brett Gardner was young. Did he have
hair?
There
was a time where Gardner had some youth, man. He had some youth. And at that time, Gardner was was on his way to being a better player than fucking Ellsbury. He wasn't, but it was a move that made no sense, and it was just an answer to Cano signing. But it was also during a time where the Yankees were just throwing fucking money. It was a great time to be alive.
But Cashman making moves that don't make sense. We seem to be seeing a lot more of those lately.
Josh Donaldson, baby. Josh fucking Donaldson. Hey, you know what's funny about that? Did you see that he hit a home run the other day? And then the moment he hit the home run, the sprinklers turned on.
Started raining. Wow, that's great. He is the
Or something
bringer
like
of
that,
rain,
or
as they say.
he had like a base hit, and then like something happened where he was coming up, he was up at bat, and the sprinklers turned on, and I was like, oh, seriously, he really is the bringer of rain. Crazy. But yeah, speaking of Yankees, and a great transition. I'm glad you mentioned Jacoby Ellsbury. Who am I? I'm actually not happy at all that you mentioned as you. Who am I? But Yankees. We've been talking about the end of the show, and with our show coming to an end, I'm sure there are questions on what's happening with Savages in the Bronx as well. Obviously, Savages in the Bronx, the sister show to Leading Off, my other baseball podcast, which I've been covering the Yankees with Tom Wassel with for almost 30 episodes. We started it on the same date, man, March 15, 2021. And both shows it's been the back-to-back show. We started off the days with Leading Off, ended the nights with Savages in the Bronx. So Savages, by affiliation, is also going to be coming to an end. So can you consider it breaking news if you didn't see it on Twitter already? Savages in the Bronx is also coming to an end, and our final episode will be next Monday, March 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And yeah, Tom and I are bittersweet about this. Obviously, we love covering exclusively the Yankees on this program, but once again, it's time to start looking into other things for the both of us. And coincidentally, of course, we're also coming to an end as well. So Savage in the Bronx for one final time. Make sure to tune in next Monday and check out the show March 28th, 2022, 8 p.m. Eastern time, exclusively on Twitch. Savage in the Bronx coming to an end. But let's get back to our show, bud, because again, we're a little past 9 p.m. Eastern time on the East Coast, and unfortunately, this is that time, man.
It's time to say our goodbyes, Rich.
Let's get back to it. Oh man, I don't know if I can make it through, but hey, let's get into it. So, dude, it's been a ride, and I thank you so much for being a part of this. 30 episodes in the book, 30 episodes in the books, and soon to be 31. Too many segments to count. A lot of great guests that we've talked to, some awesome brackets, some fun segments, and of course, yeah, a controversial presence on Twitter to say the least. We had a lot of fun though, some great memories in between. And again, this was something that was an idea years ago when ESPO and I first met each other, talking about possibly doing a baseball podcast at our job, like on site at work. How cool that would have been. But it became a reality last year. And it's been cool, man. And in this field, I would say after 1 year, this would be a short tenure for a podcast. And for me, it's just another one of the books. I've hosted a lot of podcasts that have lasted a short time. But with this said, I do want to send out a lot of thank yous, a lot of personal thank yous. First, I want to thank my family, my close supporters, my beautiful girlfriend, Alana. Shout out to you. She's not watching, but shout out. All of my closest friends, of course, who are always the biggest supporters of this thing. And I love doing this show
Fucking
for
chooches,
everybody.
baby.
I definitely love doing this show for them. They love baseball just as much as I do, if not more. So it's been a pleasure, doing this for you guys who've been clamoring for me to try to stay in the podcast business, try my hand in PA announcing with the Somerset Patriots. For all that support, I thank you guys all for it. And I love doing this, for you. I love doing this for myself, but I love doing this for you guys as well. I want to send some special shout outs to a few of those guys. Corey Favaloro, who guest hosted the show while ESPO was away in Pittsburgh. That was a really cool episode to have a guy step in for my co-host. Never done that before, ever. But he did a great job. He was also on as a guest multiple times. Joe Puglisi, who had an epic rant on this show that was clipped for our YouTube page. He did a great job. ESPO giving him thumbs down because he was ranting about that thumbs down incident with Francisco Lindor and Javier Baez. So shout out to Joe Puglisi as well. Another Joe Stern, a multiple-time guest on this show, another great supporter and the co-host of the Three Ugly Guys podcast, which you can follow on Twitter and view on Apple and Spotify as well. Also, shout out to some of the rest of our guests who made one-off appearances. Dan Checkley, Enrique Vargas, Kyle Maslin. Thank you guys all for being a part of this. And I'll throw one more shout out. I know he's watching. Tom Waspel. I gotta throw some love to Tom Waspel. Obviously, leading off Savage and Bronx hand in hand, and having Tom on for a few shows for fun. And I thank him for his support. And how about some of those chooches in the chat that our old buddy Corey likes to call them? Expert FME, Des Dutch, Core Ryan, Mikey Pars, Greg Kendari, John Hernandez, AJ, so many more who have jumped on for all that banner. I thank you all for that and much more. And I want to thank all our platforms that we're a part of: Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, StreamYard. A special shout out to Infraction, who provides the theme song for the show. It's known as Stylish. I want to thank them for that theme song. But of course, last certainly not least, I have to thank my co-host. You know him as Espo. I knew him as Alex Esposito. Espo, it's been a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for the work you put into the stream, of course. All your great ideas, all the Sunday nights that we talked about the show when we were like the night before a Monday episode because we had just better things to do. I want to thank you for being a part of this, and it's been fun working with you, of course, for the last year. And can't wait for the future, what the future holds for you, dude. Looking forward to following you along the lines, my man.
You as well, my friend. I appreciate all the kind words, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for you. And never say never to podcasting again. I'm sure we'll both be back on the airwaves before you know it. But again, man, I just want to thank you. Great job always putting the script together and the production with the graphics and everything. So I just can't say enough about how great of a executive producer you were. But having said that, I would like a raise. But I do need to see season 1 go out on a box set sooner rather than later. I just want to thank my friends and family as well. Mom, Dad, appreciate you guys always tuning in. Mimi, hello. Thank you for tuning in to your first and only episode of Leading Off. I hope you enjoyed it. And man, it's really bittersweet, man. I had a blast doing this, and it's a bummer it's coming to an end, but I think it was the right move, and I'm going to look back on this and think of all the great memories and experiences we had. So it's been a hell of a time, man, and I'm sure we'll be seeing each other at some baseball games and softball games in the months to come.
Oh, hell yeah, brother. Like I said, we did it, man. We had this idea a couple of years ago in getting this done. We did it. We had fun with it. It was great while it lasted. But now it's time. It's time to move forward with some different cool things and hopefully get some time, well-needed time back for ourselves to do our own thing. So again, follow Espo at
The Life of Espo.
Follow me at Rich J Rivera. And obviously, we'll keep you posted on what might happen down the line. You never know. But all right, dude, it's been a pleasure. Guys, once again, thank you so much. We'll see you on the other side, and enjoy the 2022 Major League Baseball season. We might not be back, but thank God baseball is. Take care, everybody.